Apologies for those of you that were enjoying the Residente. All right. Welcome, everyone. It's good to have you all joining us tonight for another lesson of Conchas y Café. I will be this time manning our live streams. So, those of you joining in on YouTube Live or Instagram Live, welcome. If you have any questions at any point, you can use the chat feature in Instagram as well as on YouTube to ask your questions. Igual ustedes que están aquí a través de Zoom, you can use the chat to ask your questions there. And because Conchas y Café is a bilingual creative writing class, we will likely be code switching occasionally, unless if it's obvious that most people prefer hearing the instruction in just one language. Y para empezar, aquí en el Zoom chat les estoy subiendo el folleto de esta noche, so you can follow along using the handout that is in the chat now. And if you are joining in as one of our registered attendees, you can also access the handout right now using Google Classroom. And you'll find it right now, at least on the Google Classroom stream. But this recording will be uploaded to the Google Classroom classwork tab so that you can watch it and download the handout there as well. And again, I don't know if I mentioned my name for those that are joining in for the very first time, but my name is Luis Antonio Pichardo. I'm the founder and executive director of Distill Arts. And tonight's lesson is going to be presented by none other than our lovely master teaching artist, Abraham Jaramillo, my co-host extraordinaire. And with that, I think I'll go ahead and pass on the mic. Abraham, it is all yours. Échale todas las ganas.
Sup, and for those who haven't been here, we are going to go in English, then Spanish, so just stay with us. If you feel like, oh, he just speaks Spanish. No, this is both. And today we have a very special class, so thanks for all the new people that are coming just to check this special edition. And so let's start. Let me share the screen. Where is then the buttons get disappeared. I don't see the share. Oh, here. Found it. Boom, 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 boom. Okay. Let me put chat. Can everybody see?
It's loading. Ahí está.
Está? Okay. Let me put the chat on my left side so I can at least see some of the goodies you guys are talking about. And let's begin. Oh, this thing is on the way. Move this side. Excellent. Cool beans. So for these, I'm going to ask for somebody in the chat, participants to read it. Again, I don't know who is in the metro or who cannot speak, so we have some issues there. So I'm going to let it up to you guys to read the first one in English. And so here we go. Who's up for this task? Because I'll be speaking the rest of the lecture. Who said yes? Who said me?
A ver, te echo la mano.
Well, I was going to say me.
Okay, go for it. Luis can read the Spanish one. Thanks.
All right. I am building a place to live where the walls are held up by hope, where the floor is made out of courage, where the foundation is rooted in love. I am building a house where the windows are treated at treated in acceptance, where the stairs are crafted of perseverance, where the front door will always be open to those I love. I am building a home where the paint was mixed by forgiveness, where the rooms were built by joy, with joy, where the roof is a masterpiece of self-confidence. I am building myself. Construction.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you very much. Again, this poem is titled Construction Project by KMR. I don't know exactly the writer, it's just one of those that I find on the net. And again, I'll ask, I guess this time, just for time's sake, for Luis to help me with this one, if you can. Thank you, Luis.
Estoy construyendo un lugar para vivir, donde los muros están sostenidos por la esperanza, donde el suelo está hecho de coraje, donde la base está arraigada en el amor. Estoy construyendo una casa donde las ventanas se tratan en aceptación, donde las escaleras están hechas de perseverancia, donde la puerta de entrada siempre estará abierta para quienes amo. Estoy construyendo una casa donde la pintura fue mezclada por el perdón, donde las habitaciones fueron construidas con alegría, donde el techo es una obra maestra de confianza en uno mismo. Me estoy construyendo a mí mismo,
Muchas
llamado
gracias, Luis.
proyecto de
Este,
construcción.
gracias. ¿Por qué MR? Ese es el nombre del artista que escribió este poema. And my question is, what do you guys think about this poem? I'm going to leave it in English here so you guys can check it out as well. ¿Qué piensan acerca de este poema? What do you guys think about this poem?
What it says in the poem, um, it's building himself, or herself. Um, Technically talking about how much it takes for you to be the person you are.
Yes, thank you. Who else wants to speak?
Well, I personally like that it goes from I'm building a place to live to then I am building a house to then I am building a home and I am building myself. So it's kind of like a funnel where, a place to live can be very general, can be any place. And then a house is something that's a little bit more specific, but a home is something that has a deeper meaning. And then to build yourself is, I think, the ultimate goal for everyone. So I really appreciate how we go from a larger idea to a simpler idea, or maybe more uh, complex idea.
Yes, and I think you and Grisel has something to do with like where this poem is heading. It's using a home as a metaphor of what you want to become or how do you want to live your life, right? Because and it's a task. It's not something you wish for. It's something you're building towards, which I like that saying. It's not like, oh, I want these, I want that. It's not like I'm building it. I'm taking all these parts and I'm making sure that this is the way I want my life to be, and so by consequence this is how I'm gonna become the person that I want to become, right? It has all these great things, like acceptance, perseverance, love, all these good things, but you have to work for them. It's not something you wish, it's something you're building towards, which I like. And with that being said, anybody wants to speak before we move on about this poem? Okay, so let's continue. So I want to show you this photo here. And for this, I want to let you speak again. Like, what do you guys think about this photo? ¿Qué piensan acerca de esta fotografía?
River in the chat added Transformers Unite.
Well, I can see some of like the face kind of the
Yeah, you could see that. Eric added symmetrical San Diego.
Oh, somebody knows what's up.
Yeah. Yeah, that's definitely what stands out to me is the symmetry.
Yes. Well, today actually we're I want to show you this. This is a photo by Eric Jepson. Again, the photo was taken in color. I just wanted to emphasize that. And the rest of the images when I shared today, I'm not going to show the names of the photographers because it's too many, but you can check on the actual cited page. And again, this is a modern futuristic. Yes, you're up to something, Tori. The building looks ancient but modern or futuristic. Yes. And This is some like Eric was saying, like this is the Raisel Library. It's in San Diego, and this is the actual blueprints of the building. You guys want to see them? I found it interesting. I always love to see these blueprints of buildings to see how they actually constructed. And talking about construction, today the topic it's going to be actually brutalism. So el, el tema de esta día va a ser brutalismo. Okay, so let's see what it's up. Okay, so not so named because of its savagery or vicious brutalishness, the term is simply taken from the term brut, French for raw concrete. It's not about the adjective, man, but the noun. The term was popularized by legendary Swiss-French architect Le Corbusier, who sought to take a practical approach to architecture in the face of post-World War II era lack of materials and need for buildings. In his approach, brutalist work, proto-brutalist work, such as the Chandigarh Capitol Complex in India, 1951 through 1961. And just to quit with this, let's go in Spanish. No se le llama así por su salvajismo ni por su brutalidad despiadada. El término simplemente proviene del béton brut, que es francés, significa hormigón crudo. No se trata del adjetivo, sino del sustantivo. El término fue popularizado por el legendario arquitecto suizo-francés Le Corbusier, quien buscó un enfoque práctico de la arquitectura ante la escasez de materiales y la necesidad de nuevos edificios en la Segunda Posguerra Mundial. En sus obras proto-brutalistas, como el complejo de Capitolio de Chandigarh en India, 1951 a 1961. And here is the actual building that we're talking about, right? And sorry, somebody put something in the chat. Interesting how the French word for concrete created a non-French word for architecture that looks brutal to the idea of simplicity. Yes, River. And let's talk a little bit about this building. The Corbusier used raw concrete to incredible effect. For instance, the complex tower of shadows serves as an exploration of the angles of the sun, utilizing sun breakers or brise soleil to regulate its rays. Le Corbusier utilizó el hormigón en bruto con un efecto increíble. Por ejemplo, la Torre de las Sombras del complejo explora los ángulos del sol utilizando parasoles o brisel soleil para regular sus rayos. And the thing they're talking about here is if you have, let's see, where's the image? Here. Here you have these, just like a big wall. First of all, it looks kind of just simple. Second of all, the rays of the sun are going to heat up more of this side of the building. But by adding these here, it breaks the sun into chunks and creates these shadows, not only creating something aesthetic that looks like interesting, how the shadows are moving here, same thing here, but also cooling the building. So it creates something practical as well as something aesthetical, right? Yeah, let's continue. Although Le Corbusier, oh, hold on. Although Le Corbusier was brutalism's forebearer, its parents are Undoubtedly, English architects Alison and Peter Smithson, working in the UK in the 50s and 60s. The duo were responsible for architectural masterworks or disasters, depending on what side of the debate you fall on, such as the Hostington School. Aunque Le Corbusier fue el precursor del brutalismo, sus padres son sin duda los arquitectos ingleses Alison y Peter Smithson, trabajando en el Reino Unido durante la década de 1950 y 1960. El dúo fue responsable de obras maestras arquitectónicas o desastres, según el punto de vista que estés tú de la moneda, como la escuela Hustanton, and here we have the actual scroll. And again, it's something that I have to say. I fall in like not in love, but because I'm not a ruralist fan. I kind of hate some of the things like this building. And I think a lot of people had like began with this pluralist movement, like thinking, oh, it's so horrible. But as somebody in the karate films used to say, like, it's not about your style of fighting, it's about who uses it, right? Like you can find brutalist architecture that's pretty awesome. So just saying. And this is one of the buildings that we're talking about, this school. And here you go. Let's continue. And the particular controversial, again, going back to controversial, Robin Hood Gardens State, completed in 1972. The social housing complex was spread across broad aerial walkways in long concrete blocks, which the Smithsonians affectionately called streets in the sky. Y la particularmente controversial urbanización Robin Hood Gardens, finalizando en 1972. El complejo de viviendas sociales se extendía sobre amplias pasarelas aéreas en largos bloques de hormigón, a lo que los Smithsonians llamaran cariñosamente calles en el cielo. And here is the building we're talking about. Aquí está el edificio del que estamos hablando. Y hablando con Luis cuando estamos haciendo las fotos, le digo que es interesante. So I was talking to Luis and I was thinking it's interesting that the actual photo has this cement tanker here, so which it's really appropriate to the buildings, right? Because they use a lot of cement. And again, has some of the things that we're talking about before, a lot of cement and these big shapes. Okay, so let's continue. In the United Kingdom, brutalism was featured in the design of utilitarian, low-cost social housing influenced by socialist principles, and soon spread to other regions around the world, while being echoed by similar styles like Eastern Europe. Brutalist designs became most commonly used in the designing of institutional buildings, such as provincial legislatures, public works projects, universities, libraries, courts, and city halls, because it invoked a feeling of permanency in a world where things that looked to be there forever were destroyed. You know, this happened after the war, right? The popularity of the popularity popularity of the movement began to decline in the late 1970s, with some associating the style with urban decay and totalitarianism. Brutalism's popularity in socialist and communist nations owed to traditional styles being associated with the bourgeoisie, where concrete emphasized equality, right? Something unique about it. En el Reino Unido, el brutalismo se caracterizó por el diseño de viviendas sociales utilitarias y económicas, influyendo por principios socialistas y pronto se extendió a otras regiones del mundo, encontrando ecos de estilo similares en Europa del Este. Los diseños brutalistas se volvieron más comunes en el diseño de edificios institucionales como legislaturas provinciales, proyectos de obras públicas, universidades, bibliotecas, tribunales y ayuntamientos, ya que evocaban una sensación de permanencia en un mundo donde se había destruido lo que parecía eterno. La popularidad del movimiento comenzó a decaer a finales de la década de 1970, cuando algunos asociaron el término o el estilo con la decadencia urbana y el totalitarismo. La popularidad brutalista no es en los países socialistas y comunistas se debió a que los estilos tradicionales se asociaran con la burguesía, mientras que el hormigón enfatizaba la igualdad. Okay. So far, any questions? Somebody wrote something in the chat, Luis.
Yeah, not specifically a
Okay.
question, but yeah, River wrote that, it's interesting how the French word for concrete created a non-French word for an architecture that looks brutal to the idea of simplicity. And then River also wrote that it was very, very enlightening what you were reading right now. Um, and I do think that is interesting that the idea of concrete and the sort of blandness of concrete is, or at least as part of this movement, was considered kind of like a symbol of equality.
Yes.
And then River responded, I associate it with decay, meaning brutalism, not just urban and totalitarianism, or just the erasure of things that make life interesting, unless it's really well done, but also of aging ideas of what the future should look like. But it's a new perspective that it could be seen as quality, equality, stability, etc. And Tori also added, I wonder if it's because they saw it as, quote, everyone having the same type of building that looks alike, no matter the social class.
Yes. You guys getting it. Again, that's a divide with the Eastern and the Western world, right? How we see things differently because of the social structures, right? And let's move on to the next part of it. So here we go. So let's talk about, we already talked about the history of brutalism. So now let's talk about the features of brutalist architecture. Ya que hablamos de la historia, ahora vamos a hablar de características de la arquitectura brutalista, ¿no? Now let's get into it. After this, you're going to be an expert of this. Después de esto van a ser expertos en el brutalismo. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to talk about is rough surfaces, use of varied or contrasting textures and materials, superficies toscas, utilización de texturas y materiales variados o contrastantes. And for this, I have this image to show you. Here we are. So here is an image that's talking about that, right? So you can see one texture, another texture. This again, it's like a handrail of some stairs, right? You have another texture, another one here, here, and again. And they have this contrast, right? But it's still using almost the same material, right? Just a different finish of it. It's metal and concrete, right? Now the next part, massive forms, creating a sense of mass, weight, and scale. Formas masivas, creando una sensación de masa, peso y escala. And here's what we're talking about. Esto es lo que estamos hablando. So see, especially the some parts of the building might not look as big, but when you take into account the whole thing, look at this huge perspective going all the way down, right? And we have these huge aspects of it, right? And really blocky as well. So that creates mass and weight, right? And you can see a lot of the scale of it, especially if you're thinking about buildings like the city halls and things like that, libraries. It kind of gives you that huge sense of awe, something important. And again, concrete also kind of signified that's gonna be there for a long time. Something concrete, something that's gonna be strong and steady after, like everything was destroyed after the war. And the next thing is unusual shapes. Parts of the building can be differentiated for dramatic effect. Formas inusuales. Se pueden diferenciar partes del edificio para lograr un efecto dramático. And here is a photo to show you this. Es una foto que les enseña esto. See? And again, we all have seen these on the roofs, right? But we usually don't see this, right? This weird angle here, and also contrasting with this one over here, which I see a lot of like modern buildings using these as well. So this, you can see a lot of the things that we see nowadays. And I think this is the next one is expression of a structure, creating a memorable and powerful image. Expresión de estructura, creando una imagen memorable y poderosa. So here it's the image. And again, I wasn't as happy with this definition. So actually I found a quote that I really like and I think explains it a little bit better, which is this one over here. Hold on. Is there a better description of a cube than that of its construction, sorry? Says the architect Laszlo Tooth, fictional character played by Adrian Brody. ¿Hay mejor descripción de un cubo que la de su construcción? Dice el arquitecto Laszlo Tooth, personaje de ficción interpretado por el actor Adrian Brody. And this quote comes from the movie The Brutalist, which I highly recommend. And again, it has all of its own problems, and the movie has some controversy as well, but it's fictional. It has good things visually as well as storytelling. I think it's a great movie to watch. But again, like Brutalism, it has its own problems again. And again, is there a better description of a cube than that of its construction? It can again emphasizing what its construction is like. It doesn't have like beautiful angels stuck in the walls or things like that. They're actually using the building as the actual visual elements of the building, right? It has these huge, oops, wrong thing. Perspective and mass in the concrete. It becomes the actual decoration, the building itself. I think that's the last thing we're talking about, expression of structure, expresión de estructura. So again, that's the last part of the puzzle of what pluralism is. And let's see what we have before. So just to give you a little more, pluralism más brutalismo. Why not? La gente pide más. So here is another building. Now I'm changing your minds, huh? Stamp House. This is the one. And again, you guys research all these buildings, and if you guys can visit some of them, awesome. The next one we have is this crazy building. And I think I have seen this one in a luchador movie, because this one, the Praxis home, is in Mexico. And Mexico has a lot of brutalism architecture. So you guys want to go, definitely a good place to check, especially modern brutalism as well. And crazy house, huh?
The
Yes.
birdhouse for the pet bird of Godzilla.
Yeah, but again, good thing that you mentioned Godzilla because again, right, it's that perspective, these huge elements, right? And these, I think they also love things hanging because this thing could look like it's just hanging, right?
Yeah.
So
It's a
that's
big
a
why.
cool, yeah.
Yeah.
And I guess this goes into the hill, which is interesting.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's a crazy house. I'm gonna research more into it. Um, then we have these crazy buildings as well. And I'm gonna butcher this name, like most of the names I have said tonight. Les Hawks de Critel. Este edificio también es brutalista. And this one, it kind of has, I don't know, it has this element that I don't know if it's super brutalist because it's almost also like an architecture, like a decoration, but it has its function. This thing looks like a petal or like a leaf, but the actual balconies, I'm assuming. So it's part of the building and it becomes the decoration itself. And again, it's the mass of it and just a lot of concrete as well. It's a big, wow.
Les Jeux de Créteil.
Yeah, that was pretty neat. And we have this one over here as well. And this one, I hope you guys go on YouTube and watch actual videos, especially when they have images of drones going around it or inside. But it's crazy. It's a cool building. It's Duslut this is a Haas monument. Sorry if I butchered it again. And it goes all the way down to the hills. I think it's like a Swiss, but again, it's back to the era of the Cold War and all that, like Soviet Union power. And another thing about like I think it represents, like, especially this building represents a lot of the brutalism because it's in decay, which is one of the factors that people don't like brutalist architecture. Hard to maintain. Um, but it's a crazy building. It's this one's amazing. Um, any questions so far? ¿Alguna pregunta hasta ahora? O comentario? Or comment? Well, the French in Mexico. Oh, sorry. There was a question on the about Tori in the chat. Do you know if these buildings became common in Mexico after French were in Mexico? Well, the French were in Mexico way before they even, but it has a lot of like probably the term was mostly taken from the French, but it wasn't like a French invention. That's the thing that just the name came from it. It's again, it's more like a British kind of that side of the pond invention. But
Mhm.
yeah, I don't think so because the French they use more like when you go to parks and you see all these French work of like metals. That's kind of more the French influence that Mexico absorbed, I think, which is something you can do for this exercise. Which is hold on a second, I'm gonna give you something that you're gonna enjoy for this specific question. Any
Yeah.
other
Yeah.
comment in the chat or?
To sort of
Mhm.
reinforce the history of brutalism for everyone, this approach to architecture was really born out of a necessity because World War II, especially in Europe, was so devastating. If you think about, even a movie like Saving Private Ryan, which I saw
Yes.
part of it yesterday, there's a lot of scenes in that movie where they're fighting in villages where people's homes are completely destroyed. If you think of even right now in modern day European history, the war in Ukraine has lasted for almost 11 years now, I think. Um, well, off and on, right? But it has lasted for several years. And in Ukraine, there's a lot of regions that have absolutely no more buildings anymore. So, what is going to be the cheapest and easiest material to find to reconstruct? It's going to be concrete. The same is going to happen in Gaza. And the same is going to happen in a lot of different areas in Africa where there have been civil war. You know, Brutalism is a response to really the time period after war. So, when you think of this, think of like the 50s, and think of in Mexico City, for example, there's the Rufino Tamayo Museum, which is a brutalist building. There's obviously ways in which it can be done in a beautiful way in like Mexico. Um, and then there's of course ways in where because of the communist and socialist ideologies that were, prevalent in some of the regions where this was used, it was about efficiency and in some ways a response to the ornate things that Abraham was just talking about in classical French
Yes.
Victorian architecture.
Yeah, and again, it's cheapness. And again, like Luis is mentioning, the villages and homes, but also think about, you see this huge church that was there forever. Now it's gone. So that leaves people with a sense of like what it's left. What is something that I can hold on to, saying that's the past, and this is constancy that we seek as humans, you know? And these buildings was the answer for that. Something they're gonna be there forever. And
Mhm.
sadly, I don't know, nothing is, right? So this you can see, not, and that's the things of brutalism. That was the intent, right? But again, the the way people keep things and the techniques they use might not last forever. Again, which is a big lesson, right? Nothing lasts forever.
Sarah does bring up a good point, that like in downtown LA, there's the Bonaventure Hotel, and that is a beautiful building that does have elements of brutalism. There's also, if you think about in downtown LA, when you're on the 101 freeway going, what is it, eastbound, westbound, you're going to find off to your, what is it, left, I think, where the cathedral is.
Yes,
You
the
know,
cathedral is actually a
yeah,
brutalist
it's a
cathedral.
brutalist building. Yeah,
Yeah, ugh,
the
horrible.
LA
But
Cathedral.
again, my love hate against brutalism.
Yeah. Sometimes it can be done with a very masterful eye for composition, and sometimes it's done more out of necessity. And sometimes, both things can live together at the same time. It comes down to just your own individual perception of it. But
Yeah, definitely. Some people love the ones that I hate, by the way.
yeah.
But again, so there was also an architect that was talking about this as well, saying, like, "Oh, a lot of people hate this new buildings." They say, "Why didn't build like they used to build before, like rancherias or Spanish style?"
Yeah.
And the guy's like, "Yeah, I love like modern architecture, which is a little brutalist as well, because it's cheaper in the sense of execution and as well as materials, because the other ones were more detailed. And again, back then." People weren't paid as well, so it was cheaper labor. That's why we end up with these more ornated or elaborated styles of architecture. And this modern or this type of brutalist architecture has that cheapness to it, but efficiency is faster to build, and the materials are cheaper. And
Mhm.
again, how you use them is where the style or the beauty comes from. I believe.
Yeah.
And with that being said, oh, hold on, do we have more people talking about here? Yes, and we have more stuff going on. So let's move on. Boop. Let's move on to this next part. And for this one, I'm going to read the English version. Hopefully, Luis, you can help me with the Spanish.
Sure.
And it goes like this. This poem goes like this. War was brutal. In the aftermath, a holocaust of cities, new and ancient buildings, blasted, burned, turned into rubble. For countless dwellers, tomorrow never came. Death is brutal. The word peace is brutal. It lacks the magic of an speedy manifestation. It takes time. Waiting is brutal. Rebuilding turned into brutal. The town root turned into the new. Homes, city halls, hopes, the new sense of permanency. Plural emphasis on structure, rough to the touch, to the eyes, massive, unusual, yet unafraid to show what it is made of raw necessity. For architecture is poetry, and poetry is raw. Title for this piece, Life is Brutal by yours truly. And We're gonna go into the Spanish version. Vamos a ir a la versión en español. Luis, whenever you are ready.
All right. La guerra fue brutal. Tras las secuelas, un holocausto de ciudades, edificios, nuevos y antiguos, explotados, quemados, convertidos en escombros para innumerables habitantes. El mañana nunca llegó. La muerte es brutal. La palabra paz es brutal. Carece de la magia de una manifestación rápida. Toma tiempo esperar. Es brutal. Reconstruir se convirtió en brutal. Beton Bru se convirtió en lo nuevo, en casas, ayuntamientos, esperanzas, la nueva sensación de permanencia. Brutal énfasis en la estructura, áspera al tacto, a la vista, masiva, inusual, pero sin miedo a mostrar de qué está hecha, hecha de cruda necesidad, porque la arquitectura es poesía y la poesía es cruda. Título: La vida es brutal, por Abraham Jaramillo.
Thank you, Luis. I love hearing poems, like how the people perform. So, what do you guys think about this poem? ¿Qué piensan sobre este poema?
Extra credit for the person that gets the
Yes,
hitting quote.
hidden details.
River wrote,
Cool.
"Peace is brutal and poetry is raw." That struck me.
I don't know, to me, the poem was more of um, I don't know how to put it, but how life is towards us, you know. We go through things and we say, hey, it's gonna be better next time. And eventually it is. But the scar is there.
Mm.
So it's like coming into that with this, I don't know.
Thank you. Yeah, definitely the word hopes, right? It gives you that kind of sense of we wish for something better after some like scar, like you're mentioning. ¿Alguien más? Somebody else who wants to give us a feedback on this one? What do you guys think about this poem?
Eric wrote in the chat, "It's nicely structured, complementing the brutalist characteristics of architecture. Massive form, unusual shape, bit of rough surface."
There you go. So he got closer. I think we're gonna give him the extra
Getting close.
credit. Just
Yeah,
saying,
yeah.
because when we're like talking about this with Luis, we're like, oh yeah, I started with the image on the top becoming like the destruction after the word. That's why I separate these words as well as it gives some kind of space to the words and more feeling, more depth. But also wanted to like separate like pieces after word, really like the blocks of the debris, and then I started construction like the buildings it themselves, right? And this brutalist shape. And we're talking about with Lee's like, yeah, the style of poetry is called concrete poetry. When you take a form like a cat or an elephant or a plane and you use the poem to create that shape, right?
Mhm.
So it's pretty befitting, right?
Eso.
So yeah, extra credit for Eric. Okay. So, before we move on, last chance of speaking about this poem. ¿Alguien más que quiera hablar de este poema? Somebody else wants to speak about this? What you guys think? What you guys felt? Anything is fair.
Yeah,
Okay.
River just commented, "Concrete poetry about brutalism." I love that.
Yeah, this one's a lot of layers in this one.
Yeah, definitely a lot of layers.
And let's move on then. So we have more. Now let's actually start with you guys. I'm gonna make you do some exercise. Vamos a hacer un ejercicio. Y para esto, let's go into your computer or phone. Again, most of us are technology savvy, so I think you guys can do this. Then find three aspects that make, hold on, go on the computer, phone, and find a type of architecture. Then find three aspects that make that architectural style. Finally, write in the chat, like you guys are doing already, the name and the three aspects, like we did with the Burles architecture, right? You don't have to go too much in depth, but just like a quick search. ¿Ok? Entra en tu computadora o teléfono y busca un tipo de arquitectura. Luego, identifica tres aspectos que conforman ese estilo arquitectónico. Finalmente, escribe en el chat el nombre y los tres aspectos de ese estilo. Any questions before we're going to give you like 10 minutes, Luis? That sounds fair?
Yeah,
10, 5, I don't know.
we'll play it by ear.
Okay, we'll play
So
by the time you
be able
guys
to
finish
find
in
it
the
faster.
chat. ¿Alguna pregunta? I don't exercise, sir. I'm with you lately. It's just like too cold to be outside. It's okay. I
That's what the
guess no
exercises.
questions. So everyone's on the phones or in the computer looking for their special architecture.
So Tori's question is, what's an example when you say a type of architecture?
Like let's say right now we just talk about pluralism, but you can talk about like the French movement of architecture or modernist architecture. So it depends of which one. I can tell you, but like up to you guys
Mhm.
who wants.
You
Gonna
can
take a
also think
hint.
of it like a style of
Yes.
architecture or an
Mhm.
approach to building homes and buildings. Um, like some names that you might have heard before is something like mid-century modern, which
Yeah.
usually refers to the type of houses and architecture style of like the 60s. You might have
Art
heard of,
Deco.
yeah,
You
Art
know,
Deco. You might have heard of
that one's beautiful.
Victorian homes.
Hmm.
Um, then there's also the Spanish style, Spanish colonial style, uh,
Yes, Spanish Revival as well.
Spanish
Yeah,
revival.
which
Mhm.
is I love that one too. Or Mission, you're right? Spanish Mission kind of style. But yeah, that's so cool. That's why we started this. I love this subject. As I know so many of you in the chat, I think you guys enjoy this. And you haven't going to the rabbit hole of architecture, this is your chance.
Yeah, there's also, a lot of other types of architecture that exist out there, but
Yeah,
if it helps, think about like a home that you like,
yes.
it
Go look
starts.
for a home or a building in the city and see that you like that one. Remember the name, Google it, and you'll find what type of architecture is it, and then you can go from there. I think that's a best way to approach it
Yeah.
because that way like, oh, I like that one. Now let me see why.
Yeah, Sarah wrote in the chat, LA City Hall, the iconic tower with its setbacks topped by a stepped pyramid, is very much in the Art Deco style, according to the LA Conservancy.
Mm-hmm. It's a lot of Art Deco
Hmm.
in the city of LA, which I love Art
Yeah,
Deco.
Art Deco is very nice.
Good choice, Sarah.
Mm.
And again, go for the three. I mean, that you have now Art Deco. Now look for those three aspects that kind of make Art Deco. You already kind of have some of that, but go for it, Oliver.
That's a good tidbit. Sarah shared that the LA Conservancy has tons
Yes,
of building profiles.
yes. And again, once you have in the chat, put a name of the architecture y después los estilos. Then the three, then the three aspects of that make that type of architecture. And I said three, it could be more, but just three, so you guys Just
It's a
start
good
with
place
that.
to start. Yeah.
Hmm. For example, these like pluralism, it doesn't have to use all of them at the same time sometimes, but has definitely heavy on some of those.
Also, if you're not sure of like a term to use for when you're searching, you could think of the era of the style of houses. So like I said, mid-century modern is usually associated with like the mid to late 50s up through the maybe mid 60s. Art Deco is usually like 1910 through
Yeah,
1930
the
approximately.
golden era.
Yeah. Victorian would be more European style, typically what you would find in like I don't know, maybe like in some of the more recent shows about the English royalty.
Yeah, Victorian, you can also see like the houses that are really like the spooky houses that you think of when in the
Yeah.
movies, like the Beetlejuice. That's
Yeah, there
a
you go.
Victorian house.
Mhm.
I love Victorians too, but they're definitely creepy, which I
Mhm.
like. Imagine having one of those houses. You can do the craziest Halloweens. Just saying.
Yeah.
The more ghosts it has, the better.
Yep.
Okay, we have Eric. He got the first one. Luis, can you give us that?
Yeah. So Eric wrote mid-century modern, minimalistic, clean lines, geometric shapes, open spaces, integrated with nature, function forward first.
Yeah. Again, it has a lot of the beginnings with brutalism. Brutalism kind of influenced a lot of that. You
Yeah.
can probably see it. It just has different materials now and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But yes, Eric, good job. Double extra credit, I guess.
Yeah. There's also things like the craftsman style.
Yes, that one is beautiful.
Yeah. Craftsman style homes are usually what you might find in places like South Pasadena, Pasadena,
Mhm.
and Altadena.
Especially, yeah.
Yeah.
That's when it kind of took a lot of the hold.
Yeah.
It was really Japanese influenced.
Hmm.
And Grisels knows this. We went to visit some of those houses. Oh, they're beautiful.
Yeah.
I wish I had the money for one of those.
Could always build your own.
Hey, but if you go for that, you can go check them out. It's tours for some of those houses.
Yeah.
That's a cool thing you guys can do. Oh, imagine go write a poem in that specific house. Oh, crazy. Love it. Okay, how are we on time, Luis? Not to
I think we're pretty good.
push him, but tick tick tack. No pressure. And again, a good tip is like Luis, we're talking about like remember a house that you saw on the TV or movie, or like, huh, what is that house in this movie? You can search for that, and then you find the name, and then you say like, oh, what's this house architectural style? And it will tell you. And then after that, you just what are the what does make this style or whatever, and you will find the answer for those little things. Again, you can follow Eric's text so you can see how he put it together as an example, which is great.
Mhm. I'd be curious to see if anyone decided to go with the Hobbiton
The
style,
whole what?
the Hobbit town style.
Oh, Luis, that's crazy. That's oh my god. I'm getting all my architectural geekness out of this class. Yeah, that's somebody that I knew, like a model, they married in one of those little because they have like a little town in I think Europe. They went to marry over there, like, oh,
Wow.
that's love for the movie.
Serious love.
Yes.
But Earth houses are interesting and,
Yes.
very, very, ¿cómo se llama? Very, efficient.
Functional, yeah, efficient,
Yeah.
yeah. I wish all these places with tornadoes and things like that, they were building like that.
Yeah.
But I
Uh,
guess they're expensive.
yeah. Well, there's a lot of earth that you have to move in order to be able to build into the into that.
Yes, and I'm pretty sure you have to like seal the heck out of that so the
Yeah,
water doesn't get in.
exactly.
Um, geod geodesic
Geodesic.
dome.
Yeah. Yeah. And Grisel added Spanish colonial,
Ooh,
prominent arches, courtyards, asymmetrical facades, clay tiles, and stucco. Yeah.
my goodness.
That's one of my favorites for sure.
Yes,
I like me a good Spanish colonial style,
yes.
or even the Pueblo style, Pueblo
Mhm.
adobe style.
Oh, that one, yeah.
Yeah.
That one, the thing is, for those ones, I feel like you need a couple of them to make it feel more cohesive. Otherwise, it looks like
That's true. Yeah. But you can always create like little like semi-attached rooms, you
yes,
know, with a courtyard.
or have a cliff and put it like hanging on the cliff. Have you seen those ones? Oh my god,
Um,
that's pretty good.
mhm.
Sounds like a field trip. It's in the making.
By the way, everyone is welcome to join us
Oh, by the way, yeah.
for our walking tours that we will be doing. We'll be doing two walking tours in Boyle Heights and two of them in South LA. Mostly, we're going to be focusing on celebrating the legacy of immigrant uh, community
Communities.
members in history throughout the history of LA, specifically focusing again on Boyle Heights and in South LA. It's free to join us. The first walking tour is happening in 2 weeks. Um, actually, next week, next Saturday. So you can join. You can register through our website at distillarts.org/creative impact.
Or show up and say, oops, I'm here.
We're not publicly announcing the reunion point, so that's why we recommend that you register in advance if you're in the area. But
And
yes,
again, you're Conchas people, you probably get a free pass.
yeah.
And again, we
Everybody-
can be watching like architectural buildings on the way, like, oh, I know that one now. After this, then we have Judas took a great tour in Vegas, Old Town Vegas. It's all facades, casinos, buildings on top of old casinos, but you can see glimpse of the original buildings if you know where to look. Oh yes, tours are awesome. Tour I have referred
Clearly,
just
clearly, Sarah does like a good walking tour.
yeah, you definitely want to join us for these tours, Sarah, because I know you love tours and I
Yeah,
love me some tours as well. Plus, I bring some drinks unofficially.
unofficially. Grisel added another architectural style for us.
Oh, now it's showing off.
Greek, Greek revival. The Greek revival is
Oh,
symmetry, proportion, elegance, and harmony.
damn. Yeah, thank you, Sarah. Yeah, definitely come with us. Like, it'll be fun.
Yeah,
And again, if we finish early, we go eat food and drinks. Oh yeah, Luis is putting in the chat. If you guys wanna click and sign up, and again, do the signing if you can. I know, and if you're not tech savvy, just follow us on Instagram. There's probably more information there too. DSL Arts, right? Luis?
yeah. You can also just email, and
Oh
we
yeah,
can sign you up
email
too.
and to get the addresses, especially right, the points that we're gonna. Yeah,
Exactly.
definitely. You feel like you're not getting it, email Luis. You want to put your email, Luis, just in case, so he can send you the actual starting points and finishing points and all this stuff. He's more on the know of this project, on the location stuff and
Mhm.
time.
Mhm.
We have USC Berkeley Tower, which a clock that clicks The time for the students.
Beaux Arts.
Deux arts, classical, standing there simple, not simple at the same time. Ooh, Aria. Okay, okay. I'm gonna Google that one too. If you guys are wondering if I using your research on my own benefit, yes. Ooh. Okay, architecture. And the thing is, if you consider sometimes architecture styles also come with like movements of art and music at the same time. So it's also cool to see how the social aspect of this becomes its own universe if you think about it.
Yeah. And this is very true, especially when it comes to Art Deco. Art Deco
Mm-hmm.
was not just an architectural style, it was also a visual art style and a graphic design style.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Oh yes, this. Oh, thank you, Tori. Yeah, that's a cool. Yeah, I have seen this one, and I finally learned the name of it. Pretty cool. Okay, who else are we missing? Just in case, just for time's sake, so I still have some stuff.
I think almost everyone shared something.
Everyone sure?
Yeah.
I
So we can
think
probably move on.
excellent. I think everybody did their excellent work. Excellent work. It sounded like a Trump now. God dang it. Okay, let's move on then. You guys did great. Now let's see. Oh shoot. Okay, so your favorite part of this beautiful Conchas y Café. It's homework. Tarea. Going back to school, right? Okay, so it is. Imagine your home or your city has been destroyed by X cause. Now, write a poem that describes or explains in which architectural style you were built. Use that what you learned about your architectural choice, the whys, the hows, etc. And let me go to Spanish and then if you have any questions, we'll go over them. Imagina que tu casa o tu ciudad han sido destruidas por X causa. Ahora escribe un poema que describa o explique el estilo arquitectónico que usarías para reconstruir. Usa lo que aprendiste sobre tu elección arquitectónica, los porqués, los cómo, etc. Again, any questions on these ones or you want me to explain it a little further? Go for it. ¿Alguna pregunta? Échenla. Is it clear or not?
And if you're so inspired, you can even use the concrete poem form
Yeah,
to write your poem
yeah.
while also representing the architectural style.
Mhm. And again, you feel like you don't have time to research a lot of architecture, which I think you guys can. But if you can use this and use brutalist architecture as well. Yeah, and I'm gonna force you to like go and research, even though it's the fun part to me. And Grisel,
Does that mean I have to do it too?
it's up to you. Like I know you're like I'm like, oh, come to the class and check it out. But if you
No.
want to, if you want.
No. But yeah, that was one of the questions I was gonna ask before Luis said it already. Like you could use the concrete
Yes.
form and stuff like that.
Yeah, the concrete form is of how does it look like in the page, like it gives a shape. So that's the thing. And then the style is the brutalist, right? So that's if you the kind of the example that I gave, the one I wrote, that's kind of something you can do with that style, or you can choose another style. I'm assuming you guys can use the one you guys just research. So I think it's really fun. And I love that you all find like different ones, right? Which is awesome. You have to. You did two styles already, so choose one, I guess.
But I think brutalism it's implemented in most of the buildings if you think
Mhm.
about it, because technically that's how a lot of people wanted to survive certain etapas de las guerras y todo eso. So yeah.
Yes. And again, that's something I'm talking about. Like, think about like, why would you use that style? Like, you like it now. Like, how does it work? Like in the advantage of you, the city dweller or the homeowner, what this style convey? It doesn't have to be super practical. It can be something that you like personally, like visually, because I believe that that's the reason we have art. It kind of lift us up and give us hopes and give us a sense of beauty, a sense of awe. So it doesn't have to be something just practical. That's why I'm like, all these styles have a purpose that we have used throughout history, like Art Deco, craftsmanship, and as well as art. I don't know, Victorian. All these styles have their own purpose and their own reason in history. So you choose it and then go for like in the poem form. See how you're gonna put it like in a way of responding. Oh, I'm building these because this style does this and creates that and becomes this, and you don't have to go as historical because I went to the historical because using history in the class. You can just go on your own experience. How will you rebuild using that style? And again, use the rebuild as part of your subject because that's the theme that we're going for. Rebuild and this is style, right?
Sí, me la pusiste fácil y difícil a la vez.
Yeah, it is. It sounds easy once you're in the paper. Oh crap! But once you
No,
research, the ideas are gonna come to you.
lo
Like,
digo por lo fácil, por tantas cosas que hay, lo
oh yeah,
difícil por poder incorporar todo eso que quiero
yes,
incorporar. So,
yes. And that's, I think it's like once you have it, like, and like the was we say, like, have the style and then the things that make that style and then your reasons why you like the style, and it's gonna flow. That's how I created the poem that I did. I was like, all this stuff that I kind of love in a way. I didn't put too much hate on this poem, but like it's a love hate, with like that kind of style architecture. So it's gonna be fun. I'm just saying, don't think too much about it, like how hard is it going to be. But once you have all this information and all the reasons you like it and how you will see it in your city and your home, you own in this type of home, it's going to flow, it's going to burst out of you, pretty sure.
it will, pero
Yes,
como te digo, son tantas cosas que
yes. And again, you don't have to go to all the details. Just choose a couple of them.
not
Again,
details. Es que como es como el arquitecto, cuando
oh,
lo
you're going for the
dibuja,
specific architect.
es
Okay,
por
you
eso.
can name some people too. Yeah,
No, no,
that'll
no,
be great.
no. No, I'm not going for a specific one, but
Oh,
I'm just like the architect. I draw, but then building it, it's another thing. That's
oh
what I'm
yes.
getting to.
Oh, I love that you're thinking about that kind of thing. Like, we have the people who creates the plans, and then we have the people who build the thing, and like they hate each other. Like, dude, you're making me. How do you? That's crazy. And the architect is like,
Sorry. I
yes, you
had
can
to
do it.
incorporate it like that.
Yes,
I
go
thought
for it.
about
Like,
it like
it's a
that because
personal
of
thing, right?
exactly because it's personal. It's like
Yes,
things that I go through everyday life.
yes.
So
The guy that I follow on the internet, that it's an architect and talks about these different techniques and how they're built and the codes. He loves these modern architecture styles because he builds, right? So he knows that's the cheapest way, the more mathematical way of approaching. And that's his thing because he's personally he creates. I mean, he has to work with budgets and people, so he doesn't just have to imagine. So he definitely has to do like all these things. So that's why he chooses like more simplistic or more straightforward architecture. But again, that's a cool thing. You have your own voice and you're gonna use it in the poem, which is what we want.
well, that's why I'm telling you. It's just
Yes.
like he said. It's the simplicity of working with what has been given to him.
Mm-hmm.
But then there's other architects that have a totally different view of things. And once you go to make it happen, you come with little issues. Why? Because it's not supposed to be the way the architect has put it in drawing. So
Yes. Same thing with the designers and engineers, kind of the same thing.
Mhm.
Um, and again, just for time's sake, who else have any questions before we move on to the something that Luis didn't expect? But we have extra, extra, por lo que le llamamos el pilón. Dun 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 dun. So just because I am like that, let's give you the pilon, right? So a poem appeared on the side of a Wolbeck streetcar park, which seemed doomed to make way to a new hotel. A hand scrawled ode to its concrete triangles has appeared, author seemingly unknown, and it speaks eloquently for all who love the building and what it stands for, and who will miss it when it's gone. Un poema apareció en el lateral del estacionamiento de Welbeck Street, que parece destinado a ser un nuevo hotel. Apareció una oda carabateada a sus triángulos de hormigón del autor aparentemente desconocido, que habla con elocuencia por todos los que aman el edificio y lo que representa, y por quienes lo extrañarán cuando desaparezca. And this one, hopefully, some of you can read it. I think it's going to be a treat for you guys. So here is the poem. Who wants to give it a go? I can zoom in also, so don't worry, you guys can see. Any takers, or should I read it?
Tori,
I
would you like to read this one for us?
You told me that. Estoy un poco, a ver si me sale el inglés.
lo tengo en español también. Si quieres hacerla de español, lo
En
puedes hacer de español.
español. A ver.
Okay. Si quieres, ¿alguien más quiere leer en inglés? Somebody wants to read in English first, and then we'll give her a chance to read in Spanish. Grisel, you want to read in English? Go for it whenever you're ready.
Okay. Farewell, Beck Street, in all your brutalism, brutalist majesty, sorry, balanced and bold against the massive London sky. Tittering house of cards, it will be such a travesty to bring the barrier down and say goodbye. In your story-stacked style, you seem to call to days when we were young, shook hands, dreamed dreams of progress, motion, of standing tall, a future fast and fine as jet streams. Those five-sided triangles, pointing down from above, certain and saying, "You are here, you are love," and your days are nearly gone. But turning off the thoroughfare, I find your strip lights glowing on, the ever widening dream still there. I know I shall pass by one morning to find an absence in your place. Let traffic dip its lights in mourning for your cemented charm, your concrete grace. Farewell, farewell, Beck Street, too beautiful to last. Once you were the future. Welcome to the past.
So, thank you very much. And now, ahora en español, tío.
Ve. No es español.
En castellano.
Ok, muy bien, gracias. Ok. La bella Welbeck Street en toda su brutalista majestuosidad, equilibrada y audaz con el inmenso cielo londinense. Castillo de naipes tambaleantes, sería una farsa derribar la barrera y decir adiós. Con tu estilo apilado pareces llamar a días en que éramos jóvenes, nos dábamos la mano, soñábamos sueños. De progreso, movimiento, de erguirnos. Un futuro veloz y hermoso como corrientes en chorro. Esos triángulos de 5 lados, apuntando hacia abajo, hacia arriba, desde arriba, seguros de al decir, estás aquí. eres amado. Y ahora tus días casi han terminado, pero al salir de la calle encuentro tus luces encendidas. El sueño cada vez más amplio aún ahí. Sé que pasaré por aquí una mañana para encontrar una ausencia en tu lugar. Que el tráfico apague sus luces de luto por tu encanto cimentado, tu gracia concreta. Adiós, bella Welbeck Street, demasiado hermosa para perdurar. Una vez fuiste el futuro, bienvenido al pasado.
Thank you guys so much. And again, this is an extra thing I wanted to show you. And as well as this is the actual writing on the wall that you guys just read. Esto es lo que escribió el poeta sin nombre sobre este edificio que también tengo. This is the building that they were speaking of. Ese es el edificio que van a tirar o tiraron, no sé cuándo pasó. So yeah, thank you very much. I just wanted to close out of that because again, it's showing you that architecture definitely inspires a lot of people because it's a stylist art and it's something that we live in, that we walk by. We actually sometimes live in it and we breathe in it. We do everything through cities and art and architecture and influences every day. So hopefully this inspire you to do your homework, to to create, right? Que los inspire para crear, ¿verdad? Y thank you very much. Any questions about the homework or the subject? This is the time before we close this Conchas y Café. Oh, my drink is gone.
And the only other thing that I wanted to add is that, of course, this upcoming week we'll have a workshop session. So you can bring your work in progress. It does not have to be 100% complete. And we can give you feedback on Tuesday and also the following week. So the next two Tuesday sessions will be for workshopping. So you can bring your work, you can bring your ideas, you can even bring your second or third draft of previous poems. We'll be more than happy to give you feedback on them.
And again, you also want to join us for the walks. That'd be great. We could also
Yes.
chat about architecture now that we're all
Exactly.
into this architectural cult.
Well, yes. As Eric said, thank you so much, Abraham. Thank you for another wonderful lesson. For everyone watching on the live streams, thank you again for joining us. This recording will be posted to our YouTube channel in about a day or two, along with the handout. It will be posted in our Google Classroom for those of you that are in the session on Zoom. And I look forward to seeing your architecture-inspired poetry.
Yes, and just to because to give tribute to people who contribute to this, there's a lot of works cited websites in the pamphlet in the worksheet that you guys gonna download. If you download it, please, especially people who are on YouTube or wherever, don't kill me if I didn't put it this time. I didn't manage to put it in the actual showing, but definitely go to the website and check all the websites that I got all this crazy information and dive into the rabbit hole of architecture.
Eso, eso. All right.
And let
Have
me
a good
stop
night,
sharing
everyone.
this.
Que se la pasen muy bien.
Buenas noches.